Hi everyone, my name is Maritza.
My name's Ian.
And here today we're in the print shop.
And today we're going to show you all the steps it takes to screen print anything.
Alright, let's go.
So now that you picked out your image, the first step to the screen printing process is coating your screen with emulsion. So there's a couple of things you need before you start coating your screen. The first is a screen that is bone dry and free of dust. This is an example right here. You want to pick a screen that's big enough to hold your image, but not big enough that things will go out to the side. So if we look here, it's just big enough to hold our image, so this is perfect. Next thing you're gonna need is this handy dandy scoop coater. This is where you're gonna put the emulsion to put on the screen. And then last but not least, you're gonna need this spatula for reasons that will be explained later.
All right, so now we're gonna head over to our dark room, which is where all the coding is going to be happening. So one of the first things you wanna do is set your screen up right here on these two things. So your screen's flat like this, right? This right here is the emulsion bucket. This is the bucket that has all the emulsion in it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pour the emulsion from here into our scoop coater and then coat the screen. So I'm gonna open the bucket. Make sure to try to keep the bucket out of the light. I know this is really open right now, but when you do it actually, this is for demonstration purposes. When you do it actually, you want it to be a little more closed because light does mess with the emulsion and will harden it and mess it up. So we don't want that. But for demonstration purposes, we're keeping this open. So you open the emulsion bucket. You want to pour into the scoop coater. You want to make sure there's an even coat. You don't need that much because the last thing you want is a really thick emulsion coating. So we're going to pour it into here. Try to get a very nice even coat. And now this is where our spatula comes in because we are not wasteful here at Spark, so we want to make sure that all the emulsion we use goes back into the bucket. Trying to scrape everything back into the bucket. Right, and now when you're done putting the emulsion in the scoop coater, close the bucket, put the bucket back. So now, with the scoop coater, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the thin side. If you can see it, there's a thick side and there's a thin side. You want the thin side touching the screen. So one thing you want to make sure when you're using the scoop coater, you don't start at the very bottom. You start a little above the bottom, and you make sure you stay away from the edges here. You want to start as close to the middle as possible. So you press your thin side against the screen. You tilt your scoop coater up, and you're gonna look for the emulsion to make a nice line. You want the emulsion to make contact with the screen everywhere, and you want to wait until it's an evenly distributed line. Once you have that, you're going to tilt back and go straight up. You don't want to put too much pressure on it. You stop right before you hit the top. You pull back, and we're done. All right, so now that we have our coated screen, we immediately want to take this to the dark room here because any light exposure messes up the emulsion and it's going to be harder to do our image when it comes time for that. So we put it in the dark room for 24 hours. We wait 24 hours before we can get it again, and then after that, we're ready to use it for screen printing. After you put all the leftover emulsion into the bucket, as much as you got out, you put the bucket back, and then we take our materials that we used and we take them over to the sink, and this is where we're gonna clean them. There's also clean rags over here. We can also use these clean rags to help scrub out our materials. But for the most part, it's very much just spray. And when we're doing this, we want to make sure there's zero blue left. We want to get no blue remaining. So, after you've fully scrubbed and cleaned all your supplies, what we're going to do is take them over to our drying rack here. And the drying rack is ordered, you go from bottom to top, so try to place things as there's space. If there's no space on the bottom, then you move up a level. Place all your things there. You take the rag we used, bring it out. and put it in a dirty rags bin.